Welcome back to the Her Best Self podcast. It is truly great to be with you here today. I want us to get started with episode 25. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you all the questions that you need to be asking yourself to bring more clarity for true change, for true recovery. You see, in order to truly get aligned with what we want and where we see our journey going and the healing process, it's really important that we get clear on a couple of questions. So for today's episode, I really think that this is going to speak to your heart and this is going to bless you, because in order to get away from these unhealthy patterns and behaviors, we have to cut the ties, break those chains of why we stay so deeply attached to them in the first place. If you feel like you want to live free from your eating disorder or the disordered behaviors that you are doing to yourself, but you just aren't sure where to start, today's episode is for you, friend. Hey girl, welcome to the Her Best Self podcast. I'm Lindsay Nickel, former competitive figure skater and perfectionist, turned God-led imperfect boy mom and digital CEO. If you find yourself constantly thinking about food and wondering if you'll wake up one day free from the obsessive thoughts and behaviors controlling your life, then I've created this podcast for you, because I know exactly what it's like to be a downright hot mess trapped in the destructive cycle of disordered eating. I finally found freedom, and you can too, girlfriend. So if you're ready to heal your relationship with food and body and break the chains of control and show up in your best health, then grab your favorite Tarjay journal and let's get to it, so you can start living your best life as your best self. I am going to pour so much love into you today, and I hope you are ready to ask yourself to jumpstart your relationship with food and your healing process forward, because today we are going to talk about a couple questions that you can be asking yourself right now, today, that are essentially going to change the future state of your life. These questions are so simple. It's not going to require a bunch of time. It's not going to require a gazillion different steps. It's just going to require a little bit of your energy today to listen to me, to dive into your heart, and pull out a notebook, pull out a pen. And if you need to pause this episode, you can go ahead and do that too. Maybe you want to listen to it first and then come back and do the reflection and answer some of the questions that I'm going to be pointing at you today, because I really want to help you jumpstart your journey. A lot of times you feel, or a lot of my clients come to me feeling like you want to live free of this disordered relationship that you have with yourself and your body and food, but you wake up every single day and you aren't sure where to start. Some days, you're ready to tackle it, and the other days it just feels too hard. You feel broken, you feel stuck, and you feel frozen. I wish that I could have a cup of coffee with you right now and to give you a hug and squeeze you and tell you, you are not broken. You are not stuck. You're not frozen. But we stay so deeply attached to the stories that we've created for ourselves in our minds, and they leave us with lives that feel overwhelming. Today, I want you to challenge those feelings. The problem isn't that you don't deserve change. The problem isn't that you don't desire to change. The problem isn't that you don't have the willpower to do it. So why is it that we're still here? Why is it that you keep listening? Why is it that you keep struggling? The problem is you've been trapped in a cycle, over and over. And even though you want so badly to live free from the cycle of food and thoughts around food and controlling your food and behaviors that are so unhealthy, and maybe you sit there and you know they're unhealthy and you cry and you want life to be different, but it's just not, and it's hard. I have today's episode for you because we're going to talk about a couple questions that you can ask yourself. Researchers have done many studies on why it's so freaking hard to get out of unhealthy behaviors and unhealthy patterns, even when you may feel drained, even when you may feel overwhelmed, even when you may feel debilitated. And there are major reasons why us humans, we go into this cycle over and over and over again. One is lack of clarity, lack of this limited perception and thought of, I don't really know where I'm headed. Maybe where I'm headed is worse than where I am. So maybe if I just stay here, then I'll be safe. And so our brain tricks ourselves into believing that if we just settle for less, the fears of the unknown are just so much more daunting than the daunting of our current state. Think about this with your eating disorder, or think about this in a relationship. Why do so many people find themselves stuck in the patterns of unhealthy, disordered eating behaviors when they desperately want to change? Maybe it's they don't have the clarity. Maybe they want it, they desire it. It's not the willpower, it's the way. Right? Maybe they just feel like they don't know how to get to it. They haven't seen it before. They haven't experienced it before. And in a relationship, maybe you stay stuck into an unhealthy one because it's easier than going out there and doing all of the things over again and relearning and reteaching yourself how to be and who to be. And all of that can seem so overwhelming. So being stuck, being in this constant cycle feels normal now. And so you stay in it. But girl, I am here to help you break it today. I'm here to help you break the cycle. I'm here to help you jumpstart your healing journey. One of the other reasons that researchers believe people stay stuck is because honestly, and this is something that I had to work through in my healing journey, it secretly served me. Part of me wanted to get out of this disordered relationship that I had with myself and my body, and controlling and restricting my food and taking matters into my own hands and controlling every single thing. But part of me didn't. And maybe that's you too. Part of me thought I would miss it. Part of me thought that if I wasn't manipulating every little morsel of food that went into my mouth, like what else would I be doing? But that is our brain's way of keeping us safe. That is our brain's way of making us live small. And girl, if you're listening to this podcast, I can promise you, personal experience, not clinical advice, but I can promise you that there isn't a day that goes by in my life now that I wish I was in that story, that I wish I was in that place, that I wish I was attached to the identity of an eating disorder that had ultimate grip over my every single day. There isn't one day where I miss that place. And I feel like I will definitely be doing an episode on that. And then lastly, another reason why people just stay in this cycle is because they don't know who they are. Maybe you don't know who you are. Your identity has been so twisted in this false sense of identity. I want you to go back and listen to episode 12, the biggest lies you are believing that are keeping you from your best self. This lie of you're unworthy, this lie of I'm unlovable, this lie of I am helpless. I want you to go back and listen to that episode right after this one today, because I guarantee you it's going to resonate if this resonates with you now. The truth is, maybe you just don't know who you are because you've been jaded by this mental illness, because you have been jaded by these all-consuming thoughts and feelings that are in your mind and in your body. You haven't allowed yourself to be yourself. Who are you really? It's a great question. And we're going to get to the questions that I want you guys to write down today. I want you, girl, to write these down, because if you sit with them and you think, this can really help jumpstart your journey. So I want you to close your eyes, and not if you're driving, and not if you are cutting vegetables, and not if you are doing something that you require sight to do. But if you have a moment, I really want you to sit with yourself. Maybe you need to go into the corner of where you really allow yourself to think. And if you haven't allowed yourself to think recently, I really encourage you to do so today, because I feel like in the crazy busyness of our world and of our culture, we don't allow ourselves a minute to breathe. And then we wonder why we have all of these thoughts and feelings. And we wonder why we can't get a grip on all of them. And it's because we haven't even gotten real to our true self, our true state of being. We haven't asked ourselves some questions. And today I want you to really think about these questions, and I want you to answer them. And I would love for you to send me an email at info@lindsaynickel.com and share with me your answers. Because if you need more support I can help support you. I offer limited personalized coaching opportunities, and I would love to get on a free chat with you today and really discuss these questions. Number one, I want you to ask yourself, what do I want? When's the last time you've asked yourself, what is it that you want? What do you want? What do you want for your life? Maybe you want freedom. You want freedom from the struggle. You want freedom from the hamster wheel. You want freedom from a life that has you trapped around everything you do, around food, around your body. You can't even have a normal experience with friends and family. You can't even go outside of your house without debilitating thoughts. You want to no longer have food control those thoughts, and you want to escape those thoughts, and you want to escape the cycle. And if you aren't sure exactly of the answer to what is it that you want, then I want you to ask yourself a semi-different question to help answer this question. What is it that you clearly don't want? Because that's going to give you the answer of what it is that you do want. And I want you to really sit with yourself, think through this, reflect. What do you want? If you could have anything you want for your life, if you could change your current state, I think of the Men in Black where they have this little flash and the person forgets everything prior to the flash. If you could forget that calories existed, if you could forget that you had this unhealthy relationship with food and your body, if you could completely wake up as an entirely new person, what would you want? What is it that you want for your life? Explore that. Many of us, we settle for less, or we've been taught to settle for less, and we are constantly giving to other people, but we've taught ourselves we can control everything that we do. And we can control our food, and we can restrict our food, and we can give ourselves worth based upon that restriction and that control. Then we'll be fine, and life will be fine. And we will get that sense of satisfaction and accomplishment. But let me tell you, sister, nothing is more satisfying, and you feel no level of accomplishment greater than the one where your worth is not tied to your weight. And your worth is not tied to an identity that is false, that it was created out of false beliefs and perceptions. So I ask you, do you want that? And if so, what do you truly want? Question number 2, why do I want this? Why do I want this? I've worked with many women, and many women have given me different responses to this question. In fact, my responses have changed over time with this very question. Why do I want freedom? Why do I want healing? I want you to sit with this question. Why do I want this? And I want you to go a little bit deeper, because sometimes the initial responses to the question are very surface, okay? We're really good at surface when we've been hiding behind an eating disorder brain trying to call the shots in our life. Why do I want this? It has to be a why that is so much deeper and emotionally deep. I'm talking deep into your core values. Think about your priorities and the time that you have left here on the planet. Think about that level of why. Not just, oh, I want this because I want to be healthier. Great. But when you wake up in the morning and you have this nagging thought in your mind that's telling you you can skip breakfast, and don't worry, you can skip lunch too, and you don't need that snack. And you can have as much as you want in the cabinet because you're just going to throw up anyways. When you have the why of I just want to be healthier, that is not going to cut it. It's just not. So I want you to get deeper on this. Why do I want this? Why now? Why don't I have it already? The truth is that this disorder, it makes us so trapped in this little box that we don't allow ourselves out of the box. We just don't. We don't believe that we deserve out. We don't believe that there's a bigger world and a bigger purpose outside of the box that we've put around ourselves. But the key there is that we have put the box around ourselves. We've done that. And yes, it's taken time. And yes, little by little, every single day, we have confined ourselves and trapped ourselves further into this box. But what I want you to see in this question is that your why is going to have to be so big that on your worst days, it still drives you forward. It still pushes you out of the bed and gets you up and gets you to a place where you no longer want to be in your current state because the pain to stay there is just too much. It's just too much. And I look back and I think about my why. And yes, my why has changed over time. At first, it was to please my parents. At first, it was because I could see that I was skinny, even though I didn't feel like I was skinny enough. And so, okay, I guess I could get a little bit better. And I kind of literally tricked my brain, although my brain was really tricking me, into believing that I had a why that was going to get me to in a place of recovery. That is what keeps pulling us back into this cycle, because the why is just not big enough. It's not strong enough. It's not purposeful enough. And that's not your fault. Maybe you've never sat down to ask yourself why you want out of this. If this is such an issue in your life, why haven't you changed it already? Why do you want this? Maybe that feels hard today, and that's okay. Because guess what? We're listening to our feelings. Maybe it's been a while that you've heard your own feelings, because the feelings of the enemy and the feelings of this voice inside your head have created a narrative. That is what is keeping you so deeply attached to this story. But guess what? You have the power to change the story. You have the power. And many people, they truly don't know their why because they don't know who they are. And in order to understand why we want certain things in our life, we have to go back to our priorities and what we value. The truth is, you've been valuing this false identity. You have been creating this story that you so desperately want to get out of, but stay stuck in because you believe it to your core that you don't deserve anything more. Friend, that is so far from the truth. If you aren't living in purpose and you don't know the calling that you have on your life, then I want you to understand that you can shift your focus on what it is that you want to who you have to become to achieve it. This is really going to help you. And why is it that you want this? The problem is that your purpose isn't to become worthy. Your purpose on this planet isn't to make other people find that you're good enough. Your purpose on this planet isn't to make other people appreciate you. It isn't to make other people understand your worth. It isn't to make other people like you or affirm you or feel that you're good enough or that you're superior or that you're important. Your purpose is not to become worthy. Friend, you already are worthy. Now it's time that you start living into that and believing it, because I'm going to tell you right now, until your why is bigger than just yourself, until your why is so much deeper than you want to get healthier or you want to be better or you want to stop feeling like crap, you're going to stay stuck. You're going to stay here. You're going to stay trapped and you're going to stay deeply rooted to this place. But you can become the very thing you wish to become by having the courage, listen friend, by having the courage to become it without knowing every single step along the way. The third question, who do I need to become to get what I want? Who do I need to become to have this? And when you start exploring that, you give your mind the invitation to literally imagine the life of your dreams. It gives your mind permission to experience life free from an eating disorder, free from your identity being attached to this false sense of self. Think about what needs to be released in order to have this, what needs to be embraced in order to have your life of the wildest dreams that you can possibly be living. What needs to change? What needs to go? This exercise is going to be challenging. That's the point of it. But who do I need to become to be my best self? Who do I need to become to have exactly the life that I want? So I was listening to Audible today. I love Audible, probably because I'm so super busy and I'm constantly on the go. And so I just love listening to books. I was listening to Craig Groeschel's brand new book, The Power of Change. And if you want a new read, I highly recommend it. Talks all about some of the concepts that I've been sharing with you today. He really dives deep into change and surrendering your power to the unknown and surrendering your power to God. We try to change what we're doing instead of trying to change what we're being and who we want to be. And so there's a reason we continue to experience the same life 365 different days out of the year and multiple years and decades. And there's a reason why we stay stuck to an eating disorder. And your reason is probably because you've tried to do all of the things and you haven't tried to lean in to who it is that you want to become. And I bring up this book because he says something pretty freaking epic, and I want to share it with you. He says, we try to change what we do instead of trying to change who we are doing it. Behavior modification simply doesn't work. There's a reason that we do what we do. Targeting behavior without changing our identity is like pulling up a weed without getting to the root. The reason you are stuck in the behavior is because you haven't changed who you are or who you want to be. Girl, if you don't hear anything from this episode today, you have to lean in to your best self through your recovery. It takes courage to try to create and reinvent your life. It takes courage. But I promise you that in order to change your future, you're going to have to change your identity. And maybe the reason that you feel like you want to change, but you just aren't sure how to do it, is just another lie. It's just another lie that your eating disorder is having you to believe so that you will stay deeply attached to this story. But guess what? This story is no longer serving you. It's time to create a new story. And you can do that by starting to answer these questions today. Let's summarize. Number 1. What do I want? Maybe you aren't entirely sure, and that's okay. But I know you don't want to feel broken, and I know you don't want to feel stuck, and I know that you don't want to be frozen, and I know that you want life out of this misery, right? 2, why do I want this, and why now? Why don't I already have it? What is keeping you tied in this unhealthy relationship with yourself? And 3, who do I need to become to have this life that I want? Who do I need to become to have this life that I want? If you don't know who you need to become to have this life that you want, I want you to think about people that you know that you are envious of. Yes, I know. I'm telling you to think about people that you know that maybe you're kind of jealous of. But when you do that, think about those qualities of those people. Are you jealous that she eats that piece of bread without thinking twice? Are you jealous that the scale at the doctor's office doesn't bother this person when they get weighed? What are you jealous of? And not in a bad jealous of. This is just simply an exercise to really get you thinking about what it is that you need to start exploring in order to have the life that you're longing for. Who do I need to become in order to have what I want? Friend, I really think about my journey, and maybe this will bless you today, but in order to find freedom from my eating disorder, I had to stop feeling sorry for myself and living in my pain. And I had to start turning that perfection, that pain, into purpose. I started exploring what made me me. What are some things I enjoyed? Why did I enjoy them? What was the most important to me in my life? Because it truly wasn't how much butter was on the bagel. It truly wasn't putting ranch dressing on the side of a salad. What made me me was deep within my soul, deep within my heart. What made me me was my faith. What made me me was my friends and my family. What made me me was an intuitive wisdom inside of my heart that gave me purpose and meaning. And now I get to share all of it with you. You have so much more breath in your lungs. You have so much left to do here, so much to explore, and so much to witness, and so much to do. So what is it that you want? And why do you want it? And who do you need to step into to get exactly the life of your dreams? You can find freedom from the thoughts. You can find freedom from this awful disease. You can find recovery and you can find healing. There's hope for you. There's permission. There's peace. So let's start with trying to get a little bit of clarity around what it is that we really want. Because how can we get what we want if we're struggling with who we are and why we want it? Today, I hope this episode has blessed you. And if it has, I want you to send me an email. I want you to let me know the answers to these questions. I want you to hop on over to our Facebook group. You can find it at the link in the show notes. And I just want to share your journey and all of these things that you're experiencing right here. I want to hear it from you. And if you're looking for more support, reach out. I promise that I will send you a direct email back. I want freedom for you, just like God's given me freedom from myself. And just remember, the problem isn't that you don't desire to change. And the problem isn't that you don't have the will to change. And the problem isn't that you don't know the way. The problem is you've been trapped. And it's time to start escaping. It's time to start healing. I hope that this episode helps you do just that. Until next time, I'll talk to you soon, girl. Oh, friend, thank you so much for letting me share what was on my heart today. My hope for this podcast is to help more women find freedom from food and body. If this has empowered or blessed you, let me know. I'd be honored for your rating and review of my show, and I'd love to connect with you in my private Facebook community. You really can move from perfection to purpose. Let's break the chains together. I'll help navigate the way. Until next time, bye for now, girl.